All
Well,
right.
well, well. I think we're live on YouTube right now.
We might be. From my end, it still says setting up your meeting on for YouTube
And
Live, but
my end,
I
it
know.
tells me that we're streaming. So I think we're out there and streaming. So hello
Right.
to those of you who hit the view now button super quick. Thanks for being here.
Right. I'm impressed if you did that. That's
Right.
pretty cool. But I
Right.
guess others who slackers that waited until later when it was available to see after the
The
fact
replay.
are able to see this
True.
fantastic dialogue.
Right.
So
Right. So speaking of fantastic dialogue, what's going on? What's new with you, Greg? You got any upcoming travel plans?
I actually do. How did you know?
A little birdie told me you might be
Little
going somewhere soon.
All right, little ducky told you.
Little ducky.
Yeah. So my wife and I are going not this weekend, but the next weekend after that. We're going up north in Michigan.
Oh,
So the what is it called? Shoot,
it's
the
killing me.
Marriott, the Inn at Bay Harbor.
Oh,
We is
one of your
on our
favorites.
list of the best Marriott resorts in the U.S. and it's one we've been to many times. I really enjoy both the resort and that area a lot, and we've been just itching to get away. Northern Michigan opened up well before the rest of Michigan did, so they've had some time to adjust to what open up means, which is not quite the way things used to be, of course, but
Right.
so they've had some time to get things going. So we think it'll be good. I mean, the inn has a lot of policies in place that are supposed to make it very safe, and there haven't, to my knowledge, haven't been any outbreaks there, and there haven't been any outbreaks in where I live either. So the chance of us bringing anything bad up there is very very low.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
yeah, we're excited, looking forward to it.
Yeah, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law took a trip this past weekend to a beautiful resort in Saratoga, New York, called the Sagamore, and she told me afterwards that they had refunded the resort fee uh, proactively. She hadn't said anything about it at checkout or anything, but they refunded the resort fee because not all of the amenities were available for guests. Do you know if the Inn at Bay Harbor has a resort fee, and do you know whether they're charging it or not? I wonder if that's something commonly happening right now.
Well, the Inn at Bay Harbor has a 10% of the room charge resort fee,
Ah, the perfect kind
which
if you're using points.
exactly, which the perfect kind when you're using points and the worst kind when you're paying with cash.
Right.
But so yeah, so I don't pay it anyway. I haven't heard like I did read they have a whole page, Q&A about what's open, what's not, and everything. And I don't
Mhm.
remember anything about the resort fee being waived, but that makes a lot of sense because
It does, right?
yeah, they don't have the pool, or at least at the time the FAQ was written, they didn't have the pool open. They might by next week. I don't know. Um, and there, I'm sure there's other things that usually are included in the resort fee that you don't have access to. So
Aren't available, yeah.
sure, I'll
Yeah.
demand my 0% back.
Well, I thought it was interesting they were proactively doing it because it does make
No,
sense.
that's
So you should,
totally
you
makes sense.
wouldn't pay when not everything is open. But but nonetheless, I'm sure that'll be great to have a little getaway. I mean, I haven't gone to any hotels or anything yet, but I did venture out to go buy something at a store like an hour and change away the other day. So I did kind of, come out of my little comfort zone shell. So I'm not quite at Greg's level yet, but life is
W-
slowly easing back towards
Yeah,
normal.
was that something, a chair?
It was the chair that I'm sitting on right now. You can't really see it, but
Nick's
uh,
been tweeting about asking people their recommendations for chairs, so
I
that's how
have.
I knew
So
about that. Yeah.
yes, yep. So absolutely picked it up and brought it home. So that was my major outing this week. So
And is it working for you?
it is so far. I don't love it necessarily as much
Oh,
as I intended to love it, I don't think, but I don't dislike it. It's much better than what I had. So what I had, like my old chair, I don't look at the chair very often. I sit in the chair. And at some point I finally realized that it was so old that it was like peeling apart. And I was getting pieces of it on my arm. And I said, okay, all right, it's time
right.
to finally, go out there and invest in a new chair. So I went with a Steelcase Leap V2, which is, a nice office chair. But I picked it up from a place that sells used office furniture. So it was fairly reasonable. And I figured, I sit in my chair quite a bit. I try to stand. We have a sit stand desk here. So I try to stand as much as I can, but of course I sit a lot, but writing at the computer all day. So
Right.
good to have something hopefully comfortable. We'll see how it goes. Day one today, really. So
All
we'll see.
right. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. All right. So we got some questions from readers already. So we'll kick this right off. Daniel asked
Yeah.
us a question. Says, "Hi there. Any favorite obscure cards? Now that he says CNB is gutted, I'm looking for some other obscure ones. Thanks in advance." So the CNB Crystal Visa Infinite was awesome for years. Certainly one that Greg had written about a few times. It was amazing. It's not anymore. So I won't even spend too
It's
much time
not
talking
even
about
worth
why it
considering
was.
anymore.
Yeah. So is there
Yeah.
anything else like that? Is there some hidden gem out there?
Hidden gem. I mean, there's that's a good question. I mean, there's nothing that I can think of like that one where it was a huge moneymaker, right off the top, plus had some nice features. But there's certainly a number of kind of interesting, out of the way things. Like, I don't know that you'd consider the Ritz card obscure, but how you get it is kind of obscure. And
That's
then
true.
you have to get another Chase consumer card and upgrade to the Ritz card. And that has some of the features that the CMB card did. The Ebates Visa is or Rakuten Visa is a kind of interesting, obscure card in that I didn't think it was interesting recently anymore because they stopped paying out for gift cards that you bought through the portal, like at Gift Card Mall or giftcards.com. But now they just came out with that 6% for lots of different purchases, targeted offer. And so hopefully we'll see a lot of those kind of targeted offers going on. The Sears card we talked about last week, I think. That's another obscure one where if you can get it, you can convert it to a thank you Sears card. And then that has all kinds of great promotions where you can get 5x, 10x, 20x for various things. So those are a few that pop in my mind. What about you?
I get two more that I can add to that list. So those are all some good ones. Two more that I'd add to that list. Number one, the Affinity Credit Union card, which I can't even remember if it's a specific one. If you look on our best offers page, you'll find it. So what makes that one interesting is that it's one of those quarterly quarterly category bonus cards. But what they do is they add 5% to whatever it ordinarily earns. So there are some categories on there, like I think this month right now, if I remember correctly, and now I'm second guessing, it's either restaurants or Amazon.com, or maybe it's both, that adds 5%. I think that those categories ordinarily earn like 2%. So right now you can earn like 7% back in restaurants and Amazon for the quarter for that card. Now, they recently, I think, just added a cap in terms of how much spend per quarter at that rate. But the thing is, again, it's pretty interesting because there are a number of opportunities throughout the year, it seems, where you'll be able to get like 7% back in gas stations for a quarter, 7% back somewhere else. So it's better than most rotating category cards. So that's one to take a look at. I don't know much about Affinity at all. I've added that to our best offers page specifically because of the interesting stacking opportunities there. So that one's one to look at. And then the last one that I would add to what Greg said is maybe the Old Navy card, because I know that I've read about lots of different spending offers on that card to earn tons and tons of points. So, I mean, if you're looking to clothe the family at Old Navy and what is it, Banana Republic, I guess, that they own, and Gap, but it's all the same. I think you can use the points for all of those. And they often have these crazy spending offers like 10x, 20x at grocery stores and stuff like that. So you can get yourself a lot of free clothes with that card. Very obscure, not CNB Crystal Visa Infinite level anything, but free clothes are free clothes.
Right. And then I'll just throw in one more, which is the United Mileage Plus fee-free card, which is not advertised anywhere. A lot of reps don't necessarily even know it exists, but you can downgrade from the regular United Mileage Plus card and still keep your ability to get expanded economy award availability and last seat standard award availability. So that's a pretty cool one too.
There you go. So I think
yours is certainly more obscure than the ones I said.
Well, slightly, but yours, I mean, I think we're also good points in the sense that they're not things that people often talk about. They're usually kind of, and especially with a few of those, are not easy to get necessarily. So I think that makes them more obscure. Yeah, so good stuff.
There you go. All right. So let's see. Next we have, what do you guys think about Hertz? Should I use my points ASAP, or do you think that they'll be around for another while? Would you expect another deval, or they'll shut down due to their bankruptcy?
I mean, I
What
I
do you
haven't
think?
followed the details with Hertz, but I think maybe we talked about this a week ago a little bit, and I said, bankruptcy is normally a long, slow process. It's normally something that stretches out over years. So I
Right.
wouldn't expect Hertz is going to go anywhere anytime soon. They got a lot of cars, there's a lot of assets there. I can't imagine that they're going to totally run out of money and fold up shop. So might they change the program and devalue the points? Sure, they might. And Greg made the point, I think, when we talked about this before, that unlike airline programs, I don't necessarily think that their loyalty program is a big revenue driver for them. So maybe that means there's more of a chance that the points will devalue, but I don't think I'd look to flush them extra fast. I wouldn't worry.
Plus, I don't know of any good way to flush them and get any value from that. So, last we heard, they had unenabled the transfer to miles feature. So, sort of the one way to sort of cash out appears to be gone, at least online. Maybe you can do it from calling in. I don't know. Um,
Here's a
but
question
yeah, I
for you,
wouldn't worry
Greg.
about that.
When was the last time that you remember a loyalty program that completely shut down and you lost your points in
Uh, Never, if you put it that way.
it? Okay. So, but
Where I lost.
or where people lost their
Yeah,
points altogether
I
and
don't
shut down.
remember one. Do you remember one
The
like
only
that?
thing I can think of maybe was when Air Berlin shut down. Maybe people lost miles, or I mean, I felt like
Yeah,
their loyalty program continued for a little bit
for a bit.
even
Yeah,
whenever they shut down. But like, I can't really. I mean, I'm sure that South African Airways recently shutting down. Maybe that. But it's like it's pretty rare. Is my point anyway.
right.
See like an overnight shutdown of a program and everybody's points become worthless.
It's
It's
much
just
more it's much more common that your points expire, or you know, um, what is it? It, Air Italia, is it that
oh, tell
expires
you,
their whole Alitalia?
yeah,
They
the
expire
whole
their whole
program.
program every year, or every
Yeah, or
every
something, a
2 years,
couple
or
of years,
something
something,
weird.
something crazy like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so there's some crazy exceptions, but generally speaking, I don't feel like there's like a need to have a run on the bank over your points and
No,
put
no,
that much
no.
in trouble.
What your question brought to
Yeah.
mind, though,
But
it's not about that at all. What brought to my mind was, I can't even think what it's called, but that program where you do surveys and get miles.
oh yeah, yeah.
And
E
I,
something or other.
I
Yeah.
wrote a while ago about how when people try to cash out their points for the miles that they were promised, their accounts get closed, or they
Yeah,
haven't been
that's
able to,
right.
and that keeps happening. We keep getting
Yeah.
comments on those old posts that,
Yeah.
oh, this just happened to me. So anyway, so there's two different ones that do those surveys. One of them is fine, the other one is not
Not
paying
fun.
out. And
Yeah. I just don't bother with the surveys. I
right,
don't
right,
know.
I think that's the lesson. Don't bother with the
Don't
surveys.
bother with the surveys. But by the way, on Hertz, I will say that I noticed a few bloggers recently, Miles Talk and Monkey Miles, both wrote about some of the deals that you can get on cars right now, because Hertz sells their cars, their used cars, as many of the different rental car companies do. But they had pointed out some really terrific values in terms of cars that were well below book value. So it might be worth taking a look if you're in the market for a new car anyway, taking a look at the
Yeah,
rental
that
cars
seems to
they're
be a
selling.
regional thing as far as I can tell,
Mm,
because when I looked in my area, they said they'll deliver cars up to 75 miles or something, and I looked
something
and
like that.
I
Yeah.
didn't see any especially
Yeah.
good deals. Like,
Well, there
there
you
were
go.
some things that were a little below Blue Book, but
Nothing
not
that was
not to
crazy.
where it was like, oh, I need to buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right. Yuri asks us, next question says, if I redeem to this Chase Sapphire Reserve more than the statement balance and have some additional purchases after the statement closed, do I need to pay the statement? So if you're talking about redeeming points to cover your purchases and somehow redeeming more points than you.
S- So I guess the question is,
Oh, I
does
think
it
the
count as
question.
his minimum payment, or so that
I honestly don't know. I know that
uh,
it always says that you still have to make the minimum payment if you cash out points like that, but I don't use, well, see, yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't usually cash them out as a statement credit if you're going to cash them out. Like, you do it as a statement credit for grocery purchases right now, but not above your grocery purchases unless you're cashing them out at 1 cent each, right? In that case, I would take a check instead of a statement credit usually.
well, yeah, but you can go back 90 days, so you can
Oh, I
easily do
see.
more than your statement.
Oh, okay. Right.
So we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know, Yuri. Sorry.
All right. Question from Steve. I'm
Okay.
sure you're going to talk about CSR 1.5 cent redemption opportunity. Have a lot of upcoming home repairs to get done. Anyone know if you go through Home Depot, if that shows up as Home Depot?
Well, I think probably he's talking not about buying materials, but I mean, obviously, if you buy materials at the store, it's going to come up as Home Depot, and I would assume then home improvement stores, since that's the category. But I assume maybe you're talking about like as an install, hiring Home Depot to install something. That's my
probably
guess.
what he means. Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I honestly don't know. I have a
I'd
brother-in-law
be
who's very
stunned if it
handy,
shows
so
up as Home
yeah.
Depot.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd be really stunned. I mean, it might, but I think they just subcontract with people who take the payments and give Home Depot a cut, a finder's fee kind of thing.
I'm not sure. I would look at the Doctor of Credit Payments Workshop to see how those purchases have coded in the past, because I bet maybe somebody has reported data points there.
It's a good idea.
And maybe if you know other people who've done that type of work. My thought is that if it does, so I would think that Home Depot and Lowe's works the same way, and the Lowe's credit card gives you a 5% discount at Lowe's. So if that 5% discount also works on the installs, then I would assume you're paying Lowe's directly and not paying the contractor. And so then you might guess the same is true at Home Depot.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So go through Lowe's.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. All right. So best of luck with that. Hard to say for sure. All right. So next up then is this. Oh, this is my turn. Yeah. So Robert asks, is there any way to get an authorized user for the Chase Sapphire Reserve without paying a fee?
Nope.
That was an easy one.
Let's go on to the one that was in the post this afternoon.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were asked, I don't remember the name, but we were asked if the ability to redeem Aeroplan miles to fly Etihad, which is brand new as of yesterday, if that has made membership rewards much more valuable and Chase Ultimate Rewards much less valuable.
That's right. So
what's your thought?
You're going to ask me my thought first. Yes, it makes membership rewards more valuable. Would I say much more valuable? I mean, I don't know about much, but more valuable. Yes, I'll concede that, because being able to fly Etihad first class at a reasonable price is certainly a nice thing. It's one of the nicer first class products out there. I haven't even flown the apartments. Just the regular first class was terrific. And Greg's flown the apartments, and he can tell you how great that was. So, yeah. and if you read the post that I did today, and the comments of that post, and maybe if you go over to our frequent miler insiders to see my post there about it, there are some interesting pricing anomalies happening that might make that even more intriguing. And so then I say, yeah, I mean, it certainly does help. Does it crush Ultimate Rewards? I mean, I think membership rewards already did crush Ultimate Rewards. And when I look at the pricing, like to Australia, for instance, it is quite good, but so is the ANA Around the World award chart. So it's not like phenomenally better unless you're flying first class with Etihad. It's not phenomenally better than it was before. So if you can find first class availability, yes, it's very good. It's not like, and it's still at that point, I wouldn't say it's phenomenally better than an ANA Around the World award. So
right,
good. It's an improvement, but not huge. What do you think?
Right. So I agree with that. So Amex, the strength of Amex membership rewards is unlocking these programs that let you get phenomenal value for international business and first class awards, and this is unlocking a extra part of that, basically, that
right.
is valuable, but it's pretty specific too.
It is.
So yes, I agree. Totally makes membership rewards more valuable, but I wouldn't say it's like 50% more valuable, because it's such a specific thing.
Very specific. Yeah. One airline. You're talking about awards on one airline, basically. Whereas, you pick up if they picked up Turkish, for instance, I mean, that'd be incredible, because then it's 45K one way for business class to Europe on like tons of different Star Alliance airlines, or the 7,500 each way. And there's like so many different sweet spots that it's great. This is like pretty niche in terms of.
How about if Turkish picked up Etihad as a partner? And what would that do for Citi's value.
Well, I
And
mean,
city points transferred to Turkish.
it would certainly help cities, but I mean, it's still pretty niche.
It is. Yeah.
But although it would help city quite a bit because Turkish's award chart is, it'd be pretty terrific for Etihad if
Actually,
that
we don't know, do we, that you can book first class with Turkish?
Yeah, I don't know that for sure.
We did a lot. You did a lot of investigating business class prices,
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
don't publish, I think, a first class award chart or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to look back at it. But at any rate, their business class pricing is so good that, I mean, the Middle East from the US using Turkish miles is what, 49 or 47 and a half K. So it's under 50K one way in business class to the Middle East. So I would probably take that on Etihad, even though I haven't flown their business class before. I'd probably take that as a decent option. But anyway, that's all speculation.
Yeah.
It is an enhancement. Yeah. So again, I think we agree. It makes membership rewards a little bit better.
All right. Before I move on to the next viewer question, I have a question of my own for both Nick and the audience, anyone who wants to help me figure this out. And it's related to the value of membership rewards.
Okay.
So here goes, little background. So I have the Rakuten Visa, and I got targeted for that offer for 6% back at grocery stores, dining, and mobile wallet payments for this month. So month of June, 6x for all those types of payments, okay? And there doesn't seem to be a cap. So the cap is my, how many times I could cycle my credit limit, basically, is what the limit is for me. So there's that. But then I also have the Sapphire Reserve card, which this month is offering 5x at grocery stores, and groceries can be cashed out at 1.5. So it's convenient to use it now while I'm getting 5x. But normally I wouldn't. So because my Rakuten Visa is tied to my Rakuten account, which earns membership rewards points, my choice is 6x membership rewards, uncapped, or 5x ultimate rewards, capped at 1,500 spend this month. Should I bother? So do I bother at all with the Chase side? Keep in mind, I do have a lot of ultimate rewards I'd like to cash out at 1.5. Or do I just say, well, no, the membership rewards are more valuable, so I should just go that way?
Well, I'm going to give readers a second to chime, or listeners, viewers, to a second to chime in before I give my perspective. So what do you think Greg should do? Should he go with the Rakuten Visa, or should he go with his Sapphire Reserve? I'm going to give you guys like 8 seconds to just write CSR or Rakuten, and then Carrie will give us an idea of the overwhelming majority, what you're picking. So from my perspective, I would tell you 3 more seconds. Okay. I'd say that the CSR is going to give you the 1.5 cent cash out through the end of September. You have plenty of time to use some Chase points to erase grocery purchases, and they go back 90 days, as you said. So I don't know. I'd probably hit that Rakuten 6x pretty hard, though. I would think that you probably could pretty easily find where the wall is going to be on that, or maybe you're going to chicken out before you hit the wall, in which case you probably still have time to buy some groceries too. But if I had to pick one or the other, yeah, I would take the Rakuten 6x membership rewards for sure. You can redeem your Chase points next month.
But can I? So next month, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So next month, I still, in order to redeem my Chase points, I still need spend at grocery or dining, right?
Right.
In both, grocery is the only one that I could reasonably like ramp up easily, well beyond my normal spend, right?
Right.
So then my choice will be 1x grocery with Chase, or 4x with Amex Gold, or 3x with City Premier. There's probably some other goodies in there I'm not remembering, but you know what I mean? So
yeah,
the trade-off is actually bigger. So if you think of the Amex Gold, there's a 3x differential starting next month in order to cash out my my Ultimate Rewards points. So it seems like there's a bigger loss next month.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Boy, it would seem crazy to pass up on that 6x, but that's an interesting dilemma. I feel like that's worth a post, because I think it's a really interesting idea, especially when you put the argument that way. Now, I see that a lot of people are saying, why not both? Why wouldn't you do both? And I mean, I think that that's obviously what Greg will really do, but but the thought exercise of it is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're right, the thought exercise, like if the Rakuten one was truly unlimited, then the only limit is how much I can comfortably actually spend at grocery stores.
Right.
And there is a limit to that, right?
Yeah.
So that
We get a
means
lot of
that
grocery
at
stores
some
now.
point there is a trade-off
Yeah.
that I'm picking
One over the other.
one or the other for that, at least for 1,500 of that spend. And so I don't think both is really like I
It's a
don't know. I'm
cheating
feeling
entry.
like that's a like sort of a non-answer. Like that's not really
Cop
getting at
out.
what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
So
I mean, it is, I guess, my first reaction was hands down Rakuten. When you made your point in terms of the difference for next month, that certainly is a valid point. And when you look at it, you say, okay, well, 5x Chase points or 6x Ultimate Rewards points. I value Ultimate Rewards points more highly, but not a ton more highly than Chase points. So not a huge difference between 6x and 5x. The odd thing is just, of course, obviously the limited time opportunity where you would not normally have either of those options, and to get them both in the same month is just poor luck. So I don't have a great answer for that, but
right.
think about
So well, one thing I was thinking about was I bet so the mobile wallet payment. I think I could buy gift cards at CVS and pay with Apple Pay, and so maybe I do grocery with the Sapphire Reserve at least up until the 1,500.
1,500.
I
Yeah,
guess it's sort of another do both
right. It's do both.
version of do both.
The same thing. It's really the same thing. You're just going to a different store to make yourself feel better about it.
That's right. That's right. Because ultimately, it still boils down to there's $1,500 to spend that I have to put on one or the other.
I
Like
feel like
even if I
that's,
do both, there's
yeah.
1,500 that where I'm making the decision to spend it on the Sapphire Reserve if
I
I
mean,
go that way.
I don't know how much MSing you're going to do in the month, but I feel like that's not a huge number, like to sacrifice, so to speak. So
Right.
I think you'll do a lot more than that at 6x is my guess. So I think anyway. So I don't think it's probably super
Yeah.
consequential.
So both is probably the right answer.
It probably
despite me saying it's not.
All
All
right.
right.
So let's see. So next up, Kyle asks us a question and says, we have a credit through Chase Travel on Lufthansa, which we have to book by August. Is there a way we could book and then cash out or extend our timeline? I'm not really sure.
I don't know either.
Yeah. A credit through Chase Travel. So you probably canceled a trip. So you have to use a credit through Chase Travel and you have to use it on Lufthansa.
I guess. Well, I'm surprised that it has to be used by
It's by
August. Like,
August.
so I'm wondering. So is this
Something from
something
before
he
that's
canceled? Like, yeah, before the whole
like,
COVID thing. In which case, maybe it's worth calling them and seeing whether they will extend that credit because of the circumstances. And I think it's definitely worth a call.
good advice. Good advice. Okay, so let's see if you. All right, so Larry says if you choose, and this is, I think, related to what we were saying before. If you choose to spend $1 on Chase instead of Rakuten in order to redeem for 1.5 cents, you're diluting the 1.5 cents by the value of the delta, the difference between 6x Amex and 5x Chase. So if you decide to do any of your spend on the CSR, you're obviously
Right. And that was my point of why, like, I'll be diluting it even more if I wait till next month to spend in the grocery.
right.
So,
Yeah, interesting.
And then if I spend in dining, then I'm diluting it because I could be getting 5x with my prestige.
So many dilemmas.
Lose no matter what.
All right. So
All right,
Javier,
I'll
then
read the
go ahead,
next
your
one.
turn.
Yeah, is it too risky to buy Visa gift card or MasterCard gift cards at level 2 grocery stores while working on Amex sign up bonus?
Yeah, I haven't bought gift cards while working on an Amex welcome bonus in a couple of years now. So I don't bother buying gift cards anymore for that. So I wouldn't, I just don't bother because I don't want to risk the chance. It's not worth it to me to lose a huge welcome bonus over something like that if I can find other ways to spend. And between taxes and, other stuff that comes up, I'm usually able to meet the minimum spending requirements without buying gift cards. So, and especially now, you got to think you get 6 months on most of the Amex cards because they're extending the time frame by 3 months. So you get 6 months to meet the spending requirements. Apart from the business platinum with its like 20K spending requirement, most of those I think should be fairly doable with regular expenses. So I just wouldn't bother. Is it too risky? I don't know. I mean, I bought plenty of gift cards at grocery stores outside of minimum spending requirements and not had an issue yet. So I don't know. Do you have a better answer, Greg?
No, I mean, same as you. I don't buy gift cards in order to meet minimum spend with Amex. And my guess is that level 2, so that's contrasting to level 3 stores,
Right.
that it would be okay, but that's just a guess. I don't have any data one way or another. And I personally wouldn't risk it if I could help it, if I had other options.
Yeah. I mean, I always look at it, I'm like, for a 50,000 point bonus or 60 or 75 or something like that, is it worth risking it if you can find any other way to do that spend? I don't think it's worth it.
I'd rather pay for spend, like with something like, plastic bill payment or pay taxes, whatever, than risk losing it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree. Even if you're paying 2 or 2.5% or something like that, or even 3%, the cost is worth it, I would say, to make sure you don't get that clawed back. All right. So next up, we've got a question. What is I'm in the right place, right? Okay. So what is the best way to keep expiring Alaska companion tickets alive? Is there any way to keep an expiring Alaska companion ticket alive? You mean that?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, you find a friend that needs it now, and then you have them give you theirs next time when you need it. I mean,
yeah, I don't think so. And I think someone had told me at some point that if you cancel, I haven't ever had to cancel one that I had booked, but if you cancel and the coupon has since expired, you won't get it back. So I don't
that makes
think
sense.
there's any way to extend those. I mean, given the COVID situation, there's a lot of odd things that have been extended. So I feel like maybe you could find a way to get that extended with the COVID situation. I don't know. Maybe they're extending those. I don't recall those being specifically extended though. So I think you just have to use it. Like Greg said, find somebody else who can make use of it and maybe, make a trade for a down the road situation.
All right. Our next question is from Kobe Jones. My Etihad miles expire in July. I have read that the only option to restart the clock on the expiration date is to achieve a higher Etihad status. Should I book a trip or hope to have the clock reset?
I would have to Google that. I don't have it memorized. I don't know what the reset policy is on Etihad miles. I know I used my Etihad miles to buy like a little boarding bag, like shoulder bag thing, like a man purse sort of thing a few years back because I had these miles expiring that I wasn't going to use. So I didn't at the time look for a way to extend them because I didn't think I'd ever use them, the small amount that I had at the time. I don't know. Do you have any other info on that?
No, I know nothing about Etihad's expiration rules or anything.
I do know that obviously a lot of programs right now are extending expiration. In fact, I was logged into my Aeroplan account last night because I was looking at things that I was writing about for the Etihad sweet spot. And I saw that my Aeroplan miles were set to expire like in a few days here this month. But at the top, there was a note saying that they've paused the expiration of all miles until, I don't know, sometime in July or something like that. So theoretically, my miles should be valid until then, although fear not, I'll make a transfer in just in case to make sure that they stay alive.
Do you happen to know if ANA has done anything similar? I canceled a award flight a couple years ago, and now the clock is ticking on those miles because ANA does not have any way to reset the clock on them.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think maybe if you book a ticket for someone named Nick, it might extend the validity at least until that ticket's been flown.
You know what's funny? A friend, Dave, called me one day last summer and said, do you have, 262,000 ANA miles? And I was like, I don't know. Let me check. And it was like Oh, yes. That was like almost exactly what I had. And I was really excited that he needed them. Um, but then, then I was faced with the fact that to book anyone else with your ANA miles, you have to list them as family members, and they're very specific about
They are
which family members count.
qualify. Yeah.
And so there was this whole thing about like, are we going to pretend that he's my, brother-in-law or something? We ultimately decided not to go that route, but yeah. So,
So you mean
you
maybe
know,
you couldn't book a ticket for me? Huh? Is that what you're trying to say?
right, right.
Yeah, no, I don't know of any way to extend those
Otherwise,
either. I'm not
obviously, I
sure.
would have.
Right, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, so I don't know about Etihad or ANA, but many airlines have been extending
All
the
right.
expiration
Well,
dates.
you're useless.
I know. What can I say? I do the best I can. All right. So then Jerry is the next one up. Is that, I think that ensures I read the last one, right?
All right. Jerry says, have MR, membership rewards points, been given a valuation bump by the addition
Oh,
of Etihad to Aeroplan? All right.
Jerry has
That's the one we
tuned
already.
in late. Yeah. Yeah. We answered that one, Jerry. So if you are tuning in a little late, just wind it
Well, our
back.
Carrie might just be now posting it to us.
Could also possible.
All right. So Dale says, should I downgrade one of my two old Chase Business Inc. Plus to Inc. Cash to save the $95?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're using the 3X bonus category, for sure. I would. Wouldn't you, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason not to would be if you're maxing out both of their 50K limits on the 5X rewards. So as long as um, as long as 75K worth of
I
5X
misread.
rewards is
Yes.
enough, then you're absolutely good. And you might even want to downgrade both of them if you have another card that makes points transferable. Like if you have a Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve or Inc. Business Preferred, then you might want to downgrade both.
I misread it. I was hearing Inc. Business Preferred in my mind, but yeah, I still would downgrade one of them at least. Yeah, unless you need the 100K in bandwidth, in which case, if you're using it all up, then obviously you'd keep them. But I don't think you'd be asking if that were the case. So then,
right.
Yeah, you definitely should.
All
okay.
right.
So next up, let's see. Is it dangerous to sell your credit line by adding authorized users and getting paid for it? There are companies which pay for you to add authorized users.
I'll go out on a limb and say probably. I don't have any knowledge of this, but I mean, I know that this happens, but I find it hard to believe that it's not a pain point for the credit companies. And so I think they'd be watching for that, and you might get into some trouble or get
I mean, there's just
accounts shut
an
down.
article this week about two guys that got indicted for this whole farming thing that they had going on with farming people's credit lines, although that was a bit more nefarious in the sense that I think they were paying people and then opening the credit lines in their names. But this is a similar thing. And to be honest, I think it's an outdated mode because years ago, there was for a long time, there was a bump when you were added as an authorized user on an account with good history and blah, blah, blah. But I think everybody smartened up on that. So I don't actually think that bump is necessarily real anymore. And so I think that if they're charging people to be added as AUs on your account, they're probably just scamming those people to begin with. And I wouldn't probably put a lot of faith in dealing with scammers. So yeah, I don't think risk there is worthwhile at all, especially these days with everybody kind of tightening up a little bit. And then also long term with, we see these things like about social credit score in different places and stuff like that. And I just wouldn't want to be connected with people that I don't know, and have the bank connecting me with people I don't know, not knowing what their behavior is going to be. So yeah, I think it's too risky.
All right, let's move on to Darlene. She says, I missed your show last week. Can you restate everything that was said last week now? So that, no, I'm just kidding. She says, can you elaborate on the Sears thank you card and if it's hard to get it from the regular Sears card?
Yeah, so we think it might be hard to get. We briefly mentioned this at the beginning today too. There's a Sears MasterCard and there's a Sears Thank You MasterCard. And you can't apply for the Sears thank you card. You can't apply for the regular Sears store card. And then you can hope that someone will let you product change it to the version that earns thank you points. Because the one you apply for earns shop your way points, which are not worth anything. I mean, they're Sears funny money. So not worth spending your money on the credit card to earn. But if you are able to product change it to the thank you version, that one gets targeted for some really nice offers in terms of the number of thank you points that it earns. But we talked about it last week, and I think that some people have had some trouble. So I don't think it's like a shoe-in that you'll be able to do the product change. It's one of those things where you're like taking a chance if you want to live on the edge, right?
Right. All right. Do you want to read Josh's?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So Josh asked the best credit card for purchases through PayPal on eBay. What would be the best credit card for those purchases, Greg?
Oh, boy. So there used to be some situations where purchases through PayPal, you got 5x on ink cards. I don't know if any of those things still exist or not. So you know what? I haven't stayed up to date on that. So I think we'd be looking at whatever's best for either all spend or for online spend. And so I actually just sort of published our page on best cards for all spend, like everyday spend. So you could look there at, what will just earn a lot everywhere. And then I don't know. Online spend. I mean, if you have the old Citi AT&T Access More, that's a great one. Gets 3x online, but you can't get that anymore. Do you have any?
But even that, to be honest with you, I'm not positive that it will always on PayPal earn 3x.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether that might depend on who it is you're buying from. So it definitely earns 3x in some situations when you're paying through PayPal. But I know that, like in the past, for instance, Greg's referring to the times when you could potentially earn 5x, but that was from specific gift card sellers, like PayPal digital gifts. When you checked out via PayPal, then you would get 5x in the past. Doesn't work that way anymore. But SVM, which also sold gift cards on eBay, you didn't get the 5x. And so it varied from seller to seller, and I imagine still does. So I would say probably the AT&T Access More card if you have it. If not, the Bank of America Cash Rewards card, you can earn 3% on up to $2,500 in a quarter for online purchases if you choose that as your category. So that'd be another good option. But like Greg said, otherwise it's your best, just your best everywhere else cards. And I think, again, it may very well vary depending on which store you're paying.
Okay, so Mike has a question for me. He says, Greg, how long did you try that Google phone before switching back to iPhone?
Wait. Before you even get into that, interrupting comment here, we got Stephen let us know that PayPal is a Discover Q3 bonus category. So it'll be 5% on Discover, but that's for Q3. So that starts next month, right?
Okay, that's a great interruption though, because that's not that unusual to see some of those PayPal rotating category cards have PayPal as a category, which is kind of interesting because what you were just saying makes it seem like they must code differently depending on which merchant you're buying from within PayPal. But at the same time, somehow the cards know. I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know how that works.
So weird. Yeah. I wonder if it makes a difference because does Citi have they do have a rotating category card, but I don't know if they've ever used PayPal as one of the bonuses. Visa cards and Discover cards have used PayPal as a quarterly.
Oh, interesting.
Bonus. So I wonder if it has something to do with the MCC code. But anyway, all right. So there you go. Discover next quarter. But back to the question for Greg. How long did you try out the Google phone? That was the Pixel that you bought a while back before you retreated to the iPhone.
Right. I don't remember. I mean, I think it was a few months at least, because what I remember is no, that's not true. Yeah, I don't know. What I was going to say is that I remember keeping the phone active because of that promotion that was going on where I got the $1,000 back for buying that $1,000 phone, basically, and it had some requirement for having it for 90 days or something,
something like that. Yeah.
But at some point, I just took the data only SIM. So I kept it active. I kept that SIM active on my Pixel phone, but then I took a free data only SIM, put it in my iPhone, and was using my iPhone. That was suboptimal, that configuration. But so I was very happy once that time period was over and I could move the get a real SIM in my iPhone.
And then on the flip side, the Pixel 3 XL that I bought one of those during the same deal. My wife is still using that phone now and love that phone. And then I liked that so much. By contrast, Greg didn't like it. He went back to his iPhone, but I liked the Pixel 3 XL so much that I ended up getting myself a Pixel 3A on sale because it was, cheap, and I figured I'll give it a shot since the 3XL was so good. And I've been really happy with the 3A, surprisingly, because I've mostly gone with flagship Android phones for the last few years, more top of the line Android phones for the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 8 years. So I'm pretty happy with one that's kind of a downgraded version of that was quite a bit cheaper. So
yeah, I think it ultimately comes down to who your friends are. So
it does.
Nick and I had talked before about that. I have so many friends, and especially friends and family that I travel with, that it's really awkward not being on the same platform. So the iMessage stuff doesn't work as well when one of you is not on iMessage. So especially group iMessage chats are completely ruined. And the ability to share pictures and videos and things with AirDrop, and and I know, yeah, you could tell everyone install this other thing so you have another way, but people don't do that. So there's a bunch of just conveniences that I hated giving up, and so that's why I went back.
And on the flip side, I told Greg I had a hard time thinking of 5 people in my social network and family that use an iPhone. So
right.
I'm on the total opposite end of the spectrum there. So I think it probably depends on who your friends are. And Greg and I are still friends, even though he uses the iPhone.
Right. Despite that.
Somehow it works out. So let's see. Next question up.
I'm lost. Where are we?
Well, here's a question, and then we have an interrupting comment. I was just looking to see if okay. So back to that eBay thing for a second before we do the next question. Stephen had another good point. If you live near a Meijer store, those are like a Midwest sort of a, Walmart-y type store.
I've got some near me. Mm-hmm.
So if you live near a Meijer, they're offering 10% back in rewards on up to $500 to spend in gift cards, and eBay gift cards are eligible. So there's another good option if you're looking to spend money on eBay and get money back, buying eBay gift cards at places where either A, there's a discount like that at Meijer, or B, perhaps where there's a fuel point promo going. If you live near a Kroger, they often have fuel point promos, and so you might look for discounted eBay gift cards or effectively discounted eBay gift cards.
Wait, it gets better. Meijer, at least in my experience, codes as a grocery store.
Ooh.
So with all the cards offering grocery bonuses right now,
boom,
go for it.
Go to Meijer if you have one nearby. All right, so Jerry asks us, do you guys know if Aeroplan and Advantage programs will have equal access to Etihad first class redemptions? Are they going to both have access?
I don't think we know one way or another, but what we do know is some people have reported success in booking those hard to book flights, like leaving JFK and going to Abu Dhabi and then onward to Australia. So it seems clear that they at least have access, and perhaps easier to get than finding a call center agent on the American Airlines side. But that's still to be determined because people have reported problems both ways.
Yeah, they have, but I did see at least a couple of comments from people in other places that said that they were surprised that an Aeroplan agent had access to more Etihad availability than they expected. Now, like Greg said, I also saw some data points the other way, but that tells me that it's possible that they'll even have more, at least in some instances. Definitely not less, it doesn't seem.
Right. So, which is fantastic news.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. More eBay gift cards, Lowe's and Staples with their Amex offers for 10% back. So lots of options to get discounted eBay gift cards. Cool. Darlene asks us, I made 2 first quarter estimated tax payments in May using gift cards on Pay 1040 and Pay USA. Now I can't make second quarter payments because I used their services 2 times, though the payments were extended until 7/15/20. Ideas? Do you get that better than I do?
I guess I'm surprised by that. I mean, I haven't tried that, so I don't know. But usually you go in and you have to pick which Oh no, you don't. You just pick that you're right, that you're making estimated payments. I was gonna say I
Oh,
thought it
which
had you
quarter it's
pick
for.
which quarter, but oh, if it doesn't have you pick which quarter, then yeah, that's a problem. Ah, wow, that's tricky. No, I don't know any I mean, that for using gift cards, I don't know a way around it. The one way for paying taxes with a credit card that's not limited is with plastic. They have a special URL you go to, and on our tax page, so if you do just search frequent miler, pay taxes, we have the link right in that post to the plastic thing, but that doesn't help for draining gift cards. So sorry.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other option for draining gift cards other than those sites. And if they won't let you make the payments, I don't think you're going to be able to force it.
Right.
All right. So go ahead and
Although I guess
next
she
one up.
could try calling. Maybe
You
maybe they
can
would take it over the phone.
try and explain it's a new quarter, different quarter.
Yeah.
Try.
All right. So Benjamin says, can I do better in applying for CSR, Chase Sapphire Reserve, by becoming Chase private client first?
When you say do better, what do you mean? Do you mean get like a better welcome offer or a better chance of getting approved? Do you know about either of those being the case, Craig?
I think the chance of getting approved is much higher if you have private client. Um, I don't think we haven't seen better welcome offers for private clients in a long time, so I certainly wouldn't do it for that reason. Now, there are every now and then, I don't know if there's any active ones, but bonuses for becoming private clients. So you want to look up that, or even call Chase and ask, call your local Chase office and ask, because that could be a great reason to do it right there. It's just get a nice bonus for getting private client.
Yeah, I think recently there was something like a $2,000 bonus for
Something big, yeah.
for private clients. So yeah, certainly worth triggering those kind of bonuses anytime you can. So probably be worth looking at it. But yeah, I like Greg. I don't have any indication. I haven't heard anything about an increased welcome bonus for private client members on any of the cards in quite a while. Every now and then you hear about an Inc. business preferred offer of 100K in branch, although now that's the public offer. So I don't imagine that there's anything different now.
Right.
All right. So I mean, I think those are some good questions. I want to go back and take a quick look at the Etihad Aeroplan. You know what? Let me ask you a question about that. So you wrote about the opportunity with Etihad and Aeroplan, and I wrote a little bit about it too. Now, I know that you were planning a big trip this year originally, and you were going to Asia and all the rest of that. Are you looking at opportunities to book Etihad either to Australia or somewhere in Asia? Is it something you've actively thought about over the last couple of days? Are you looking at anything like that for 2021?
So actively thought about is probably the wrong word, but idly thought about is certainly the case. So, I still have my first class Japan Airlines tickets to get to Australia. We still don't know if that's really going to happen. If it does, I don't have return flights, so it would be a awesome way to come home. I mean,
For
to sort of
sure.
put it really, really
Right.
mildly.
Really
And
mildly.
I don't mind at all spending 110,000 per person for that level of I mean, I think I paid about that much to get there on Japan Airlines. I can't remember
Right.
exactly what it
I
was,
can't
but
remember what the deal was.
something like
Yeah.
that on Cathay,
Mhm.
or using Cathay miles. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about that, and I wish I, at this point knew better what we might do, because I don't want to have more flights to to cancel when we have to change our minds. But the other thing I talked before about having those ANA miles expire, and so
Mm,
the other thing on my
could use
mind
those.
is perhaps canceling the Japan Airlines flights and booking around the world with ANA.
Well, yeah. I mean, certainly you have an opportunity there. That's one of those redemptions that I've always thought about and not actually gone ahead and done. So, be very curious to get your experiences on that. I think that'd be worth writing about too. Speaking
Right.
of writing about things, now I want to shift to something else that we've written about lately, and that's redeeming Chase points at 1.5 cents each for groceries. Now, you kind of alluded to it before, and I said it within the post, but I haven't actually asked you on one of these broadcasts. Are you intending to redeem Chase Ultimate Rewards points at 1.5 cents each towards groceries? You're going to probably cash in a whole ton of Ultimate Rewards points, or just a small quantity of Ultimate Rewards points. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I'm planning on cashing them out. I'm not planning to go like really far out of my way of like, I'm not like, gonna say, oh, I'm gonna make sure to buy lots of gift cards so that I can cash out, hundreds of thousands of points. But I'm thinking more opportunistically, like I'll probably um, make some, perhaps I'll make some suboptimal decisions about like using Chase instead of my Rakuten card that we talked about before, so that I have the ability to cash out. We'll see. I haven't fully figured out my strategy, but I do want to cash out. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to make sense.
Yeah.
All right, so Mist asks us, if ANA and Japan Airlines merged and then acquired Virgin Atlantic, what would that be called?
Does Mist have an answer to that? It seems like one of those jokes where there's a really good answer, but
maybe there's something I'm missing. I have no idea.
Virgin Atlantic. So Virgin Atlantic is Flying Club, I think.
Right.
ANA is what is ANA?
Mileage Club.
Mileage Club. And what about JAL?
Mileage Bank.
Mileage Club, Bank, and
Flying Club.
Flying Club.
Mileage Flying.
I got nothing.
I'm not sure what that would be. Yeah. All right, so we got some lightning round questions here. Quick fire, quick opinion questions. So, Greg, Matthew asks, is there any way to use a PIN with Chase cards, asking for gift card purchases where the merchant requires PINs?
So the answer to the first part of the question is yes, if you need a PIN like overseas. But when a merchant needs a PIN for gift card purchases, that's because they need a debit card. And so you wouldn't, so even if there was a way to do it, you wouldn't want to, because that would be a cash advance, and then you'd have all the fees and everything, and you wouldn't earn rewards on it. So I'll say overall, the answer to what you're looking for is no.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Agreed. Yep.
All right. The next question is grocery spend, Bonvoy or Hilton?
Tough dilemma. I've been doing a little bit of both. So both right now. And I don't know as though I have a great defense of that, because probably Hilton is, I'd say, probably the slightly better play there. It's
12x Hilton versus 6x
Marriott.
I would go with
Hilton.
The 12x Hilton.
Why?
Well, just off the top of my head, that Hilton points worth about 0.5, so that's 6%, and then Marriott points worth about 0.7. So that's
4.2-ish.
You do the math, but it's less. It's less than 6%.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it is. But at the same time, I value the status that I have with Marriott and the late checkout and things like that. So it's a nice way to beef up my points. Whereas there aren't very many other ways I'm going to beef up Marriott points anytime soon. So that's why I've been doing a little bit of both. But Hilton is probably the better choice for more people.
The other reason to go for Hilton is because they'll take back your points every now and then when they've accidentally given you a big chunk of them, and then you blog about it. Watch out for them. They're sneaky.
Watch out for that. They are. They're very sneaky. Always listening. Always feel like somebody's. So Yuri asks, I heard that in Canada, Amex decreased both sign-up and referral bonuses. Will this happen in the US? What do you think? Do you think Amex or any other issuers will decrease welcome offers and referral offers?
I think we already answered that like a week or two ago, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we might have.
That sounds familiar. I don't know. We didn't know the answer then either. So,
well, I mean, I think that we've already seen a number of welcome bonuses that haven't become more attractive, and we've seen them drop. Some issuers drop referral bonuses altogether, and some of the Amex cards have smaller referral bonuses than they did before. So yeah.
But I feel like it's been going up and down like pretty continuously for a long time. So I don't know that you can say there's a definitive trend. Although I guess it's true, we haven't seen any go up right now
No,
that
we
I can think
haven't.
of.
We haven't. And not necessarily Amex specifically, but Chase has axed their referral bonuses on a number of cards in the last
All
couple of
right,
months there.
Nick. Yes or
Okay.
no? Apply for a Rakuten card now and hope and pray. So meaning hope and pray that you get targeted for that 6% deal.
I mean, I wouldn't apply just for the 6% deal because I wouldn't think you're going to get targeted for that by applying now. But
So somebody wrote a comment somewhere I read, I can't remember if it was my post or I guess Steven's post, that said that a customer service agent or something said that if things go well with this promotion, they may extend it to more customers through August, something like
well,
that.
there you go.
So so the question is, what is well? Is it people spending as
Using
much
a
as they
ton.
possibly can? I don't know.
I don't know what well would be. How do you measure that the promo has gone well? I mean, I guess if you've tricked people into using their card at lots of other places by bonusing that, I guess maybe that's what they're looking at doing well. So I don't imagine they're going to do very well if that's the case. So I wouldn't hold my breath on it. But I mean, I think that it's one of those strange random cards that is worth having if you're well over 524 with no plans to go under anytime soon. Might as well. I mean, if there are certainly niche opportunities where it's going to be good, and some chances obviously now it might be
right. But I wouldn't blow a 524 slot if you care
right.
about that, but if you're way over, might as well.
Yep.
All right. Last one.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I got it. Yuri asks, should I convert my Virgin Atlantic miles to Hilton now or keep them?
I say keep them.
Yeah, keep them as Virgin Atlantic miles.
Virgin Atlantic miles are worth more than 1.5 Hilton points by a long way.
Way more. And I doubt that they're going to disappear and become worth nothing.
Right.
I think that's
unlikely. And Virgin Atlantic is not going to claw back your miles when you blog about them. So.
Are you worried that they're going to close? I mean, the website's been down, right, for logging into your Virgin?
It's back up.
Is it back up? Okay.
Yeah.
Hadn't checked. Okay. So never mind. No need to be worried. All right. Well, we're out of time for today. So thank you guys for being out there watching, giving us your questions. Appreciate it. Thank you, Greg, for being here to answer some of this stuff and let us know your thoughts and opinions. We'll look forward to seeing you guys again next week.
Thanks, everyone. It's always fun to sort of virtually hang out with you, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.